to tell. It's gonna be a great Noel. It's the Advent Calendar House. Muppets, Batman, Smurfs, and even Garfield's Halloween. We're gonna take a trip down memory lane. Frosty, Rudolph, and a bunch you've probably never seen. It's Mike and pals that come to entertain. Turn the knob and lift the latch for fun and laughs that can't be matched. And just beware the icy patch. It's the Advent Calendar House.
Welcome to the Advent Calendar Mojo Dojo Casa House, the holiday podcast that's legally required to take a 3-minute dance break every half hour. You know, a wise man once said, "You want to get nuts? Come on, let's get nuts." So with that spirit, join us as we dive into the nearest mouse-sized wormhole back to 2001 as we get really into Barbie in the Nutcracker. I am just Ken, and anywhere else I'd be maybe a 3.5, Mike Westfall. And joining me is my favorite pair of tiny fairies who can freeze an entire ocean to walk across only to find the magic we were looking for was inside us all along. It's Christy and Bree from Bad Princess Movies. Hello, pals.
Hello.
Hey, that was beautiful.
Hey, thanks.
Yeah, I love being a little fairy.
Yeah.
It's got to be a good time.
Incredibly powerful fairies that can freeze the whole ocean.
Yeah.
For real.
Not only would I not ever have to take the bus, but I could lay waste to anyone who gets in my way.
Yeah, that's right. By traffic. Oh, thank you both for being here. I'm excited to talk about this one. I had never seen this before putting it on my list pretty much immediately after watching the Barbie movie last year.
Oh, wow.
And I did not realize that this is Barbie's first movie.
Yeah, I remember when this one came out. It was hyped up. I think I would have caught it on YTV, but
Okay.
I just remember the commercials for it. Like they were billing this as a big deal. This is Barbie's first movie. Of course, I think there was like a Barbie and the Rockers, a Gem and the Holograms type thing that they tried to do many years earlier.
I remember that.
So I don't think this is officially Barbie's first movie, but I think it's the start of the Barbie CGI movies that we've come to know and love.
Yeah, I thought that was just like a half-hour TV special, so I wouldn't.
Oh, maybe that's it. It's like the first feature-length Barbie movie.
Yeah, because this is over an hour.
Yeah.
Okay, Bree, what was do you remember the first time watching this?
So I don't.
Okay.
I don't think I had seen it in its entirety before I watched it, because Christy and I have done this on Bad Princess Movies.
That's right.
And I think before that point, I hadn't actually seen it. Maybe I'd caught like bits and pieces, but yeah, when it came out, I was a little too old for Barbie, so when it was showing on YTV, I probably wasn't tuning in. So yeah, the first time I saw it was with Chris. Well, not with Christy, but like for the podcast with Christy.
Spirit,
yes, yeah.
Yeah, 2001, December 2001. I would have been 21 years old. So a 21-year-old man is not the Barbie demographic.
No, not usually.
Not quite.
No.
Not quite.
But this was a direct-to-video special. It was first released on VHS October 2nd, 2001, and then on DVD a few weeks later. And then a shorter hour-long version also aired on CBS on November 22nd. But we watched the full version. I found it on the Internet Archive.
Huh.
Oh, interesting. It's hard to picture an even shorter version of this because it's pretty compact.
Yeah.
Did they just cut out like the roughly 5 to 10 minutes of dancing at the end?
Yeah, actually.
Maybe that's it. Maybe that's exactly where they cut.
Yeah, it just, the movie does sort of just pause. I'm getting ahead of myself, but it does sort of just pause near the end for an extended ballet sequence.
No, you are correct. I think I blocked out the extended dance sequences.
Right.
I may or may not have skipped through it on this most recent rewatch to record today. I was like, oh right.
It's like they remembered, oh wait a minute, this is a ballet.
Yeah.
Which is more than most Nutcracker films do, to be fair.
You know, you're right. But they open with a ballet, so I think they had to tie that loose end. But
True.
So Barbie the Nutcracker was co-produced by Mattel's then new entertainment division and Mainframe Entertainment. Yeah, which was founded by the animators behind the music video for Dire Straits' Money for Nothing. But then they formed this studio and created ReBoot.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which I know you two are fans of.
Yes. At the time of recording this ReBoot just celebrated its 30th anniversary, and I feel incredibly old.
Oh, I am crumbling to dust as we speak.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I think well, as Brie said, I think when this movie came out, I was just a little old for Barbies, or at least I felt a little too old for Barbies.
Mm-hmm.
But because I was such a huge fan of ReBoot and Mainframe Entertainment, that's what made me want to tune into this.
That's the selling point. Okay. And we're going to come across at least one, maybe a couple more connections to ReBoot in the voice cast when we meet them.
Mm-hmm.
One thing this adaptation does is remember that it's a ballet. So they filmed dancers from the New York City Ballet using motion capture and computer animated them.
Yeah, it's impressive. Not like a lot of Nutcracker movies don't include the ballet, or they might put a little bit here and there, but this one actually they got like professional ballerinas to come in and do the choreography.
Yeah, it's pretty neat to watch, and we'll talk about it more as we get to the dancing bits in this. It's not just the end when they remember. Like there's a few sprinkled here and there, but But first, we open with a couple of little girl fairies flying through the credits, followed by a scene in the dance studio where we find Barbie practicing with her little sister, Kelly. Kelly looks about 8 or so here. She's having trouble, and Barbie's being supportive and goes, "Here, let me show you." And she just goes, like, "Oh, thanks, not helpful."
Okay, yeah, I'll just do it like that. Thanks, Barbie.
Yep.
Yeah, no instruction.
No, just like this, you know. And ties the shoe.
I'm never gonna get all these steps right, Barbie.
If we keep practicing, you will.
But what if I freeze out there in front of everybody?
You've just got to find the courage to try. Like Clara.
Barbie is voiced by Kelly Sheridan, and she would continue to do so over the next decade. I talked very briefly about her in my episode about My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. There are a lot of connections to that in this as well, but she was the voice of Starlight Glimmer in that show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Like one of those bad guys turned good characters.
Mm-hmm.
I think I definitely watched a little bit of My Little Pony back when it was first starting to gain momentum, and I was like, "Oh, this is cute." But I didn't keep up with it long enough to know who Starlight Glimmer is.
Yeah, same here.
I mean, I have 2 daughters who watched that through the entirety, and they like binged watched it.
Ah, yes.
So it is very fresh in my mind still. And Kelly, the character, is voiced by Chantal Strand. I've also briefly mentioned her. She has a very quick role in It's a Very Merry Muppet Christmas Movie. She's this Cindy Lou Who type character who looks like the Cindy Lou Who from The Grinch from 2000, who runs into Fozzie Bear after he accidentally gets spray painted green and looks like that guy who stole Christmas. It's a very silly, weird scene, but like a whole bunch of not who's like kind of run after him with torches and pitchforks.
Oh, God.
Huh.
I think I've blocked out most of that one.
I don't think I've seen that one, so
it's Kermit in the George Bailey It's a Wonderful Life role. It's wild.
Oh.
I'm just picturing that moment of Scooter as a male dancer in a cage.
Yeah, yes. The alternate reality has Scooter at a rave in a cage.
Yeah. He's a go-go dancer.
Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing.
Next time you're in town, Brie, maybe I'll inflict this one on you.
Oh my goodness.
When I'm back in town for Christmas, maybe that'll be the movie we watch.
Yeah. But Kelly here is every little kid who's ever gotten too impatient with themselves when they're not instantly awesome at something. I know I was that kid.
Yeah.
I'm still that adult.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I see my son struggling with that now, so I'm starting to get better at it with myself. I'm just like, it just takes patience, my dude. You're anything you start out at, you're going to start out being bad, and you got to work at being good. And I think he's starting to get the picture. But and Barbie tells her, you got to go out there and try, like Clara. And Kelly's like, Clara from the ballet that you're working on?
Oh, I didn't even think of that. Yeah, wait a minute.
What other Clara?
They're practicing the Nutcracker, and yet this is a brand new story for Kelly. Oh, I did not think about that.
I mean, maybe she was just working on the dances and hadn't actually heard the story.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, if you're just watching the Nutcracker Ballet, which is just music and no lines or anything, story can get lost pretty quickly, especially if you're like 8 years old.
True.
So Barbie explains Clara lost her parents when she was very young, and I don't know how familiar y'all are with the actual story of the Nutcracker, but no, she didn't.
No.
They're in the first scene. They throw the party.
Mm-hmm.
That's such a weird minor thing to change.
I imagine that it was a very practical thing of, oh, I really don't want us to have to model 2 additional human characters in this movie. Let's try and see how few characters we can get away with.
All right. Yeah.
But I mean, they could have at least had, because they have the aunt come in, and she could have just been Clara's mom. And then there's Uncle Drosselmeyer. Like,
she could have been instead of rewriting the whole thing.
Yeah.
They made a lot of choices.
Yeah, they still had the 2. Yeah.
Yeah. But no, they decided, make Clara tragic.
Yes.
But it's fine here because you know what else they added? Barbie. So, okay. We hardly ever see Barbie's parents in anything.
True.
Yeah.
And now, as she's telling the story, we kind of fade into Barbie as Clara as she tells it. And they also change her brother's name from Fritz to Tommy because America. And while we're at it, you know Drosselmeyer, Clara's kindly old godfather who gives her the Nutcracker? Let's make him her grandfather, and let's make him stern and uptight.
Just why?
We need to finish decorating. I don't know.
Why?
Bree and I are big fans of the Nutcracker Prince movie.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's always my gold standard of Nutcracker stories. And I miss so much that version of Drosselmeyer where he is just this kooky old man. He invents stuff.
Yeah.
He's just so fun. So this Grandpa Drosselmeyer does not do a thing for me.
No.
Nope. I hate it.
Clara, please. No more daydreaming. We have to finish decorating before our guests arrive.
Grandfather Drosselmeyer is voiced by a man named French Tickner. IMDb tells me he's known from Inuyasha, where he voices Kagome's grandpa.
Okay.
Okay.
There's a lot of Inuyasha in here, too. That's not a thing I watched, so a lot of it's going to go over my head.
That was a show that I watched sporadically on YTV.
Yeah.
When it was eventually on YTV. But never all together.
No, that was a series. I had a friend who read the manga in high school.
Okay.
And it was a series that I specifically was scared away from because when I saw it sitting on store shelves and it was like 40 volumes for this one series, I could not commit to that financially as a high schooler. So that was not for me.
Understood.
Yeah, I have a couple friends who really, really adore Inuyasha. It's like the one anime they grew up with. So
okay,
but unfortunately, I never caught enough of it to keep up.
My sister was really into Sailor Moon, so I ended up watching a lot of Sailor Moon.
Yeah, yep, that was me.
And Dragon Ball Z, I was kind of in the demographic for that.
Oh yeah,
Gonna be a few of those coming up soon, but. Going through the headshots of French Tickners behind the voice actors, there's a lot of anime dubs in there, and there's a lot of Santas I saw. I counted like 6 different times he's played some version of Santa Claus.
I guess he's just got the voice for it.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing to be typecast as.
Yeah. Like, imagine if this character actually sounded jolly, like Drosselmeyer's supposed to. And that's basically Santa. So Clara takes out an ornament to hang on the Christmas tree of a ballet dancer. The maid tells her it's beautiful, and Clara says her mother gave it to her the Christmas I saw my first ballet. And the maid notices,
Oh dear. The mice have found their way into the Christmas boxes.
well, she assumes it's mice because one gingerbread man is missing a leg. That's the maid's only line. She was voiced by Kathy Wesseluck, the voice of Spike the Dragon on My Little Pony.
Oh.
Yeah. Also Cyber 6 for... yeah.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
And Clara asks if the maid has seen Tommy, and we find him. He's behind the couch eating the gingerbread men. And Clara tells him he might want to wash his face because there's frosting all over it. They just smeared icing on this model's face.
You might want to wash off that frosting before the mice take a bite out of you.
You can't tell me what to do.
The eating of ornaments straight from the Christmas tree always baffled me because that was not a thing we would ever consider in my family because any of the edible ornaments have been there for so long that it would probably be a health hazard if you actually tried to eat one.
Right? Yeah, you're chipping a tooth.
Yeah. There are candy canes on our family Christmas tree that are older than I am.
Wow.
If you tried to unwrap it, it would just become dust.
Literally, it is.
Yeah.
It is. You can see within the wrapper, it is broken.
Oh no, it's starting to get brittle.
Yeah, it's just. It is held together by the wrapper itself.
Wow.
But it's still holding on.
Yeah.
That's right. A fragile reminder that time keeps marching on.
I was going to say that's inspirational.
Yeah.
But it's also a fragile.
Tommy is voiced by Alex Doduk. He also voiced a character on Inuyasha named Kohaku.
Mm-hmm. And he was also Jose in Cyber 6.
Oh.
Okay.
Oh my God.
Yeah, the little boy villain character. Have you seen Cyber 6, Mike?
I have not.
Oh, please watch
Cyber 6. Okay.
Highly recommended. It's only 13 episodes.
Yeah, 12
it was
or 13
a
episodes.
Oh, okay. That's nice and tight.
very short series. It was based on I think it was Argentinian comic book.
Yeah, it was a Canadian Japanese joint production based on an Argentinian comic book that is not for kids. and then they made this show, which was definitely for not young kids, but sort of the 8 to 10 age range.
Okay.
Was probably their aim, but like
Tales from the Crypt Keeper, the Saturday morning cartoon.
Yeah. But it's a magical show. I love it.
I'm sold. Cyber 6. But in walks Clara's aunt, and she greets her as Aunt Drosselmeyer, which was weird, addressing an aunt or uncle by their last name.
Yeah, well, she calls her Aunt Elizabeth later, I think.
Right.
So maybe they're just establishing that
we're related.
It's for all the big fans of Drosselmeyer, I guess. You have to name drop so that you know that this is the Drosselmeyer character, I guess.
All those Drosselmeyer heads.
Right. This is the good one.
Yeah.
Aunt Drosselmeyer,
You're at least a head taller.
I thought you weren't coming this year.
And miss a chance to visit you and vex my uncle?
But Elizabeth is voiced by Kathleen Barr, and here's our reboot connection. It's Dot Matrix.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
As well as the mainframe system itself.
Oh, it's so... She shows up in quite a few of these Barbie movies. And it's always such a nice little treat. It's just like a little feast for your ears every time she pops up. And sometimes she's playing like little small characters like this. Sometimes she's the villain. Whoever she plays, she always does an excellent performance. Love her so much.
Always great to hear her.
Yeah. She was also, I know her besides ReBoot. I know her from Ed, Edd and Eddy. She was the voice of Kevin. Dorks.
Oh, I haven't seen that series in so long.
I didn't watch Ed, Edd and Eddy.
She was also in My Little Pony as the great and powerful Trixie.
Oh, really?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh.
There was a short-lived cartoon based on the video game Battletoads, and Kathleen Barr voiced the Dark Queen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And if you saw that Rudolph and the Island of Misfit Toys really bad CGI special from around this same time, she was the voice of Rudolph.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Don't think I saw that.
I've only seen it a couple of times, but I've kind of been like waiting. That one's like on the list very, very deep down. I'm just like gonna have to get to this eventually, but I'm not ready yet. But here's where I noticed she's wearing chopsticks in her hair, and I was very curious what that was about. And then she tells Clara about her traveling adventures. So apparently she went to China.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which sounds awesome, but grandfather apparently doesn't think so. And he doesn't want her to fill Clara's head with her stories. How dare you tell people about your world travels?
Yeah, it's like there's obviously some history between these characters that we're not privy to.
No.
But before Aunt Elizabeth even can get into her current like adventures, Grandpa Drosselmeyer is already trying to shoot her down. And spoilers, I guess, for the rest of the movie, but this plot thread doesn't really go anywhere.
No.
This idea of the grandpa trying to prevent Clara from going on her adventures or going to find her freedom. It doesn't amount to anything. And I don't understand why they put it in the movie.
Don't let the man keep you down is the only thing I can think of, because they like before we get into fantasy Nutcracker Kingdom, this comes up one or more times, which is just weird. And that's the only thing I can think of. And it's just like, don't let anyone tell you what you can't do. But for right now, the doorbell rings and Grandpa storms off. And then we cut to later that night as Elizabeth continues telling Clara about her adventures. Apparently, Clara and Tommy weren't invited to the Christmas party in the other room. This is so weird.
They didn't want to have to animate more people, I'm telling you.
Yeah, that's too many people.
That's got to be it. Just like, no, we're not doing a whole party.
Yeah, no.
They have crowds at the end of the movie. They were not making more crowds for the beginning.
No, I'll get to that when we get to it, because I noticed something. But
yeah,
exciting.
But Elizabeth is the kindly relative who gives Clara the Nutcracker in this story, and she gives Tommy a set of toy soldiers. And now here is where she switches to calling her Aunt Elizabeth, and she thanks her and gives her a hug. This Nutcracker is interesting. It has an extra point of articulation at his elbow. I don't think I ever remember seeing a Nutcracker that could bend his elbow.
No.
Well, and I quite like the Nutcracker design here, if we could talk about that for a bit.
We sure can.
So Bree and I have watched quite a few Nutcracker adaptations. On our podcast, we have
a few.
Affectionately called it Nutcracker November, where I basically force Bree to watch as many Nutcracker movies as we can throughout the month of November.
Yep.
And the design of the Nutcracker is always such a problem for these adaptations, because Nutcrackers in real life are kind of freaky looking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not really the type of thing that you would usually have starring in your movie, which are usually aimed to kids. And so a lot of adaptations tackle, what do we do about the Nutcracker in different ways? So you could either embrace having him be extremely creepy, which we've seen in like the Nutcracker, the Untold Story, which that one's a wild one, Mike. If you ever want to slightly traumatize your children, go look that one up.
Okay, I'm intrigued now.
Which one was that again?
That's the one with. I'm trying.
Was that the one with the guy whose face goes all rat-like in the one shot?
Yes. Yeah.
I'm looking at the
trying-
poster now. Is that Nathan Lane? That's Nathan Lane as the grandfather.
Oh yes! Oh my God! Yes, I won't. I
Oh
won't
my
spoil.
goodness! Oh, this is a weird looking Nutcracker.
Yes, yeah, it's terrifying. Yes, I don't want to spoil anything from that movie for you, Mike. I just watch it and be amazed. But it is a strange experience. But yeah, so you could either lean into the creepiness of your Nutcracker. You could basically make him a human guy with some slight doll characteristics, like jointed limbs. Or in one of my favorite Nutcracker adaptations, you could just turn the Nutcracker into a human after 2 minutes of screen time. And not only is he human, but he looks suspiciously like Donny Osmond.
Which one is
that? One is from the nuttiest Nutcracker, Brie, your favorite.
Oh, the one that I blocked out of my memory. I see.
Yes.
I see.
That you tried to repress that. I'm just saying, Mike, I feel like the only way I could get Brie to watch this movie again is if you request it for this podcast.
It's on my list.
Mike, I will tell you, I think we may have even touched on this on a previous time that we've been here.
I think you might have.
But
I won't be there.
Come on.
It'll be a you and Christy episode. I will not join you.
I want this to happen so much.
That was one of the few movies where I almost actually told Christy, like partway through, I was this close to just messaging Christy and being like, I can't do this one. I can't. And I don't know what it is. It's not even the worst thing we've ever watched, but I didn't like it.
I'll see if I can sucker someone else into watching it.
Right.
Someone's got it. Someone's got to be on board. I'm like, what is this? But
yes, all that to say, there are lots of different ways that you could make a Nutcracker, and I think Barbie in the Nutcracker pulls it off very well. This is probably the most aesthetically pleasing Nutcracker design that I think we've seen in any of the adaptations we've done. Dare I say hunky? Hunkiest Nutcracker?
probably.
Honestly, yeah, not bad.
He skews older. He's got the white flowing hair and beard.
Yeah.
Which, no, not going to spoil it, but.
They didn't really try to make his not Nutcracker self and his Nutcracker self look anything alike. Like
No.
there's often in adaptations they'll make the Nutcracker at least sort of resemble the human variation, but
Right. Usually it's just like the difference between an animated version of Pinocchio and look, he's a real boy, but he's got a real human nose now, and that's the main difference. But
yeah,
we'll get to it.
Yeah.
First, Tommy's very interested in the Nutcracker now that he has soldiers. He's just like, I'm going to take this Nutcracker and command my army. And he grabs at it, and Clara tries to grab it back, and they have a bit of a tug of war before they end up... no, it's Tommy. He ends up breaking it right in front of their aunt. Breaks his arm.
Yeah. The little brother character is always the worst character in these adaptations because his role in the plot is just to be a little jerk and break the Nutcracker.
Yeah.
That's it. We're not going to see him for, well, basically the rest of the movie, or at least he's not going to have any influence on the plot at this point after.
No, that was his big scene right here. Clara takes the Nutcracker back and kind of whispers to it, please don't be too angry with Tommy. Tommy, to his credit, looks like he feels badly about it as Clara puts the Nutcracker's arm in a sling.
For it to heal.
Of course.
Yeah, like wood naturally does.
Mm-hmm. And as she says that, we see a little twinkle in the Nutcracker's eye, and Clara makes a shocked face for a second, but they just leave it at that and cut to later that night where she's fallen asleep on the couch by the fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, which, not a good move. I have done this, and it just severely dehydrates you. Would not recommend.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Not that I don't even have a fireplace in this house because I don't need one, but I remember like falling asleep by the fire and waking up and it's just like, ugh. I need all of the water.
Water, please.
Yeah. Her grandfather comes in to wake her up, and Aunt Elizabeth says, no, don't spoil whatever beautiful dreams she may be having. So they leave her be. As her aunt adds, Clara's not a child anymore. She deserves the chance to follow her dreams. And here's where they kind of argue about that again for a little bit for no reason that comes up later.
Yeah, no.
It almost felt to me like they've clearly had this conversation before where Grandpa is trying to stifle Clara's dreams or something like that. So it's almost like she's like, no, don't move her because she should follow her dreams. And she's really just using it as a moment to like kind of snipe at Grandpa to be like, the dreams she should be following. I'm not talking about her actual dreams. I mean, the ones that you're not letting her pursue in real life.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
It's a Barbie movie. I've had enough Barbie movies on the TV in my house to know that's either the main plot or a subplot of most of them.
True.
But Elizabeth tells her uncle he's raised Clara well, and now's the time he trusted her to make her own choices. And they leave, and we cut again. It's midnight now. We zoom into a grandfather clock, and there's an owl on top of this clock whose eyes twinkle right before the clock strikes 12. And then the camera pans down to the floor to a mouse hole, which lights up with a burst of gold pixie dust or something, which glides across the floor and around the Christmas tree, followed by a cloud of bright blue pixie dust, or whatever you want to call it, as a bunch of mice dressed in armor and carrying shields and spears file out and start attacking the tree. And then the gold pixie dust reaches the Nutcracker, and he springs to life, draws his sword, and shouts,
Insolent mice!
Just a great word to teach children. Insolent
mice. Yeah, right. The Nutcracker is voiced by Kirby Morrow.
Oh, yeah.
He's another character on Inuyasha. He voiced Miroku.
Mm-hmm.
I know him best as Cyclops in X-Men Evolution.
Oh, X-Men Evolution.
On the Lego Ninjago TV series, he voices Cole the Black Ninja. And he voiced Michelangelo in Ninja Turtles: The Next Mutation. That's the bad one.
Oh, with Venus.
With Venus.
Oh, man.
I never watched that one. I have heard the legends of Venus.
Yeah.
Oh, it was not something that was like on regularly in my house, but it was one of those things where like coming up next on Fox Kids, this nightmare.
I remember watching that one specifically. I always seemed to watch it whenever I went over to my uncle's house, and I just have these faint memories of trying to do like ninja moves while jumping on his couch, like hopping from one end of the couch to the other.
Oh, yeah.
So little me was into The Next Mutation, but little me was into a lot of things that are pretty garbage. So it doesn't count for much.
Who among us? So the Nutcracker still has the sling on his arm, so he charges into battle with one arm, and that's what wakes up Clara as she looks around and finds one of the mouse soldiers just chilling out of the arm of the couch, eating a gingerbread man, just sitting with his legs crossed, enjoying a snack. And instead of screaming, "Oh my goodness, a mouse in human clothes," she rather calmly says, "Get away, shoo!" And that startles the mouse, causing him to fall off the arm of the couch to his doom.
Poor guy was just on break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. He's fine, probably.
Yeah, he's fine.
Then she sees the Nutcracker fending off the rest of the mice, kind of shakes her head in that "am I seeing things" motion before out of the mouse hole marches the Mouse King with a growl. But not just any growl.
Even as a nutcracker, you're a thorn in my side.
Tim Curry's back, y'all.
He's back.
Heck yeah.
He is back.
He's back. Last time I talked about him on this podcast, we were talking about the worst witch.
Yeah.
Oh, and the last time we were here, we were talking about Beauty and the Beast Enchanted Christmas.
Yeah.
Which also had Tim Curry.
Yes, it did.
Oh, always good to hear good old Tim Curry.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
He's great in this, as always.
He could be the villain in every movie that I watch, and I wouldn't be mad about it.
Yeah.
His delivery is always impeccable. I would say he is the Rumpelstiltskin of voice actors, because no matter what lines he is given, he's always able to spin them into gold.
Yeah, he understands every assignment he's ever been given.
Yeah.
He is all in at all times.
Tim Curry, the Mouse King, storms out and the Nutcracker drops a book on him. The end.
Short movie.
No, it miraculously doesn't squish him dead despite the book landing perfectly flat on the ground. But no, we can't have a Nutcracker story without a Mouse King fight. So
I'm a little sad, I should point out, because if you have read the original story, the Mouse King has 7 heads. I think it's 7 heads.
Yeah.
It's some odd number of heads. A lot of adaptations stay away from that, obviously, because it would be very hard to animate.
Sure.
With this being a CGI film, I kind of wish we could have seen a multi-headed Mouse King. At least it still would have been difficult to animate, but it at least would have been a bit easier than having to traditionally animate him.
Someone do it. This has been public domain forever. Someone do like some sort of horror spin on the Nutcracker and give us our 7-headed animated Mouse King.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you want a horror take, that one we did talk about earlier, we'll give you at least that. But unfortunately, I still don't think you're going to get a 7-headed Rat King.
Yeah,
tragically.
Okay. The first part of this fight, we just see their shadows on the wall, which is lame. But eventually, the Mouse King gets the better of the Nutcracker, knocking the sword out of his one good hand. Mouse King doesn't have a sword. He has a cane with a little jewel on top.
His magic staff.
His magic staff. If only the Nutcracker could bake the hall on the candle of his brain. If y'all didn't get that reference, listen to the Bad Princess Movies episode on the Frog Prince.
Yes, my beloved.
Oh, thank you. No, I was like, I know this is a reference to a movie we've seen. And now
Sure is.
I put it together. Okay, we're good.
I know, you can tell which one of us has it as their favorite childhood movie and which one of us is Brie.
But besides thinking that, I thought, what's he going to do? Bop him on the head? He's made of wood. But no, this is a magic cane that the Mouse King can change the bejeweled top of at will, and he turns it into an axe blade. I want one.
Yeah, I actually think that's kind of a great... It's a great little idea for a magic weapon to just be like able to take whatever form you want it to take. That makes sense.
Yeah, very useful.
What I love most of all is that anytime he uses the magic scepter, it has for some reason, the roar of a cougar.
Yeah, I heard that. The first time I'm just like, that's a weird sound to be coming out of this. Maybe they're trying to make it sound like some kind of fire, but no, it's every time. It's like a roar.
Yeah. It's great.
Meddling human towering tall, let my scepter shrink you small.
Winds up ready to strike the fallen Nutcracker, but Clara steps forward and tells the Mouse King, not in my house. But the Mouse King isn't fazed at all. He turns to Clara and starts chanting a spell, and all of his spells are the rhyming kind.
Yes.
And he waves it at her, and she magically shrinks down so the Mouse King can pick on someone his own size.
I also enjoy that when she walks up and she's like, no, you're not in my house. She's carrying a vase. And I don't know if she's meant to be threatening to smash the vase on the Mouse King or like trap him in the vase. But she does walk up with a big like flower vase in her hands.
Oh, yeah. She's ready to murder this Mouse King. Yeah, but now that they're the same size, he slowly walks toward Clara, but then the Nutcracker comes riding in on a little toy wagon, and sends the Mouse King flying like Regina George getting hit by that bus in Mean Girls. Spoilers above for Mean Girls, I guess, but Mouse King's guards advance on the Nutcracker now, but he easily knocks the spears out of their hands. He turns to Clara and asks if she can climb up the mantle of the fireplace. At first, she thinks no way, but at the sight of about a dozen angry mice that are now the same size as her, up she goes. Mm-hmm. Climbing up the Christmas garland as she watches the Nutcracker take on this entire mouse army.
There's always a point in movies where I think to myself, where would I be undone? And this is the point where I would in this movie, because I was never able to complete that unit in gym class where you climbed the rope. Okay. I have no upper body strength. I would not be able, no matter how motivated by those mice coming after me, I would not be able to climb that garland. This is where the movie would end. Game over.
And see, I haven't done it for a while, but I have gone bouldering. Like now and then I go to an indoor bouldering place, never outside, but it always fascinates me now that I know what it's like to sort of try and scale a wall and how hard it is. Whenever I see anyone climbing like a cliff face or anything that's, not a ladder.
Right.
Anytime I see anyone in a movie climbing anything that is any difficulty beyond just one step after the other, I'm like, you're not actually doing that.
Yeah. I think movies and video games have really distorted our ability to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So the Nutcracker gets his sword stuck in the grate of the fireplace, and then he starts climbing up the grate to get away, and I'm waiting for the mice to just start scampering up there, but they don't. And I'm thinking whoever animated this has never had mice in their house.
Yeah, those mice will be up that garland real easy.
I unfortunately had rats in my garage once getting through and a hole rusted through the door, so I had to replace the door and they were gone, but...
Oh, thank goodness.
Yeah, they never got in the house, so fine, but...
That's good.
Yeah, but no, instead the Mouse King turns his cane into a crossbow and shoots it at the Nutcracker.
Which begs the question, if he had hit the Nutcracker in the head or in the chest, what would have happened?
Just get lodged in there.
He is made of wood.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Does he have organs in there? These are the questions that came to my mind.
Right, yeah.
Probably unintended by the movie makers, but
yeah.
He's probably fine. I think it comes up a few times. Like, the only real danger the Nutcracker ever seems to be in is when there's fire, when they try and burn him. But
yeah.
You'd think the Mouse King would just try and eat him, being made of wood.
Just gnaw right through.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Nice little tasty snack.
I don't think mice eat wood.
They sure nibble on it.
But they will chew on it.
Yeah.
Wood, plastic. Yeah.
It's also probably what year does the Nutcracker take place in? That lead, the paint's probably full of lead. So don't eat the Nutcracker.
Yeah, 18 whatever? Nope.
Don't put the Nutcracker in your mouth.
Bad idea.
Oh.
But Clara distracts the Mouse King and flings one of her slippers off her foot and right into his face, sending him dramatically falling to the floor.
Yeah.
She nailed him and knocks him out. The entire mouse army gathers around to attend to him, and instead of going after Clara and the Nutcracker, they carry their king back inside the mouse hole. If only they'd stayed out for 2 more seconds, they would have seen Clara and the Nutcracker come crashing down off the fireplace because the garland fell down. They landed safely on a pillow cushion or something, but the Nutcracker thanks Clara for saving his life and bandaging his arm earlier.
Just to highlight, immediately after this fight, he thanks Clara and then takes the sling off. He's good.
He's fine.
Which begs the question, could you not have done that earlier in the fight?
Right, yeah. I am not left-handed.
I like to think that he maybe just wanted the challenge.
Sure.
He was waiting till they must have used some wood glue to put him back together, and he realized just then that the glue was finally finished setting, and he could just be like, all right, there we go.
Oh, all right, I can move this now.
We're good, yeah.
Yeah, no, he has to return to his home in Parthenia, which is made up for this. That's not part of the Nutcracker story. Hey, Internet, what's Parthenia?
Yeah.
It's the name of several things, but it comes from the Greek Parthenos, meaning maiden or virgin, or if y'all prefer, all the single ladies. No idea where they came up with this name.
Yeah, why would they make up a name for the place and just I
don't know. But Clara asks, "Hey, before you go, can you change me back to being tall again?" Why are you asking him? The Mouse King shrank you. He just got carried off into the mouse hole. Nutcracker's just got a sword.
I mean, it's worth an ask. She is 2 inches tall and talking to a Nutcracker.
Sure.
So, you never know.
Who knows what who can do around here?
Exactly.
But he says the only one who can reverse the Mouse King's spell is the Sugar Plum Princess. Did the Barbie people think the Nutcracker was copyrighted?
I imagine they probably just wanted more princess in there.
I guess so. This is a lot of changes for no reason. Everybody knows who the Sugar Plum Fairy is. She's got a whole dance. It's kind of popular. They put it in Tetris.
The true measure of popularity. Is it in Tetris?
Is it in Tetris? But here's where we learn the Nutcracker's been searching for the Sugar Plum Princess ever since the Mouse King turned him into a Nutcracker. And while he's explaining this, remember that owl on top of the clock that I mentioned for a second when we saw its eyes twinkle? This owl swoops down and decides to join the conversation.
Perhaps I can help.
Oh, where were you 5 minutes ago during this fight with the whole mouse army? Owls eat mice!
Wasn't hungry, I guess.
Wasn't hungry. Wooden owl can't actually eat.
The owl is also voiced by Kathleen Barr, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. Which is a thing that makes sense in other adaptations where it's
Drosselmeyer.
Yeah, you see it's Drosselmeyer. In some adaptations, it's actually him perched on the top of the grandfather clock.
Oh, wow.
But in this one, it's just kind of unexplained why it's the voice of Clara's aunt speaking to her.
No, I have a theory, but let's keep going for a bit.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah. This owl is feeling helpful now and tells them they'll find the Sugar Plum Princess on an island across the Sea of Storms. And then the Nutcracker just turns around and starts walking away. Not even a great thanks, just about faces and, later.
Time to go.
Gets halfway across the room when he turns back and asks Clara, "Well, you coming?" She's like, "Me? Yeah, you want to get unshrunk or not?"
Time's a wasted. Let's
go. Then Clara asks if I have to go through that mouse hole, then I go to get my curse lifted. How do I get back here? And the owl flies over to the Christmas tree, grabs a locket off of the ballerina ornament that Clara put on there earlier, and explains,
Once you've found the Sugar Plum Princess, open the locket and you will return home your normal size.
It's a very strange alarm clock. So, the ballerina ornament, if you recall, is from Clara's mother. Is the owl the spirit of Clara's mother or whatever?
Oh.
That might explain the voice. Like, it would have been
I hadn't considered that.
Yeah, like it would have been Elizabeth's sister, I'm guessing. But
maybe their whole family has like some magic-y sort of wizard nonsense going on.
I'll keep a piece of my soul in this grandfather clock so that I may always watch over my child from afar.
I don't know. It's hard not to see it through the lens of other adaptations where Drosselmeyer has a personal connection to the Nutcracker.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I mean, maybe I do think it's intended to be that it is Aunt Elizabeth.
Okay.
But just that they don't really explain her history. Like, why is she in possession of the Nutcracker? Or like, how does she seemingly know this magic stuff? Again, other adaptations, Drosselmeyer knows all about the Nutcracker, and he talks to Clara and tells her the Nutcracker's backstory and how he's all tangled up in it.
We don't get that here.
So in those adaptations, you don't get that. You don't get in those adaptations. Drosselmeyer is very much orchestrating the events of the Nutcracker story to break the Nutcracker spell, and I feel like maybe they were trying a little bit of that with Aunt Drosselmeyer, but it just doesn't quite connect in the same way that other adaptations do.
No, there's a little piece missing that would have helped here, but with that, the owl flies back to the top of the clock and is still again. Just, I imparted the quest upon you. My work here is done.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Thanks, Kapora Gabora.
Did you get all that? So into the mouse hole they go, and suddenly the floor underneath them stops existing. I don't know, it was dark in there, but the two of them start falling down this very colorful wormhole.
Yeah. Got that sci-fi wormhole.
Speaking of Zelda, this reminded me of the beginning of Majora's Mask.
Oh, yeah. See, and I was thinking ReBoot for this moment for sure, because it just has like a very like I'm traveling through the internet vibe to me, but that's also like the mainframe bias that I have. But no, I could see beginning of Majora's Mask.
Sure.
I unfortunately never played Majora's Mask, so
that's a fun one. That's
yeah, I wasn't an N64 kid growing up.
Okay.
So I had a friend, I would go to their place and watch them play Ocarina of Time, but they never played Majora's Mask, so I never saw it.
Fair.
I've never finished Majora's Mask because it traumatized me. It traumatized me so much as a kid that I couldn't pick it up and play it.
Oh, no.
It has one of the best endings in all of The Legend of Zelda. Like, it makes you earn the ending, too. So you have to, like, finish every little side quest in order to see pieces of the ending, which I thought was really neat way to make you earn it.
I have seen how it ends, but as a kid, coming off of Ocarina of Time, where even though Navi tells you, you got to hurry it up, Link, you have to defeat Ganondorf. But, of course, you could take as long as you want to defeat him. Doesn't matter. Go fishing for 12 days in a row. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So going from that to Majora's Mask, as a kid, I did not think they were being serious about that 3-day time limit.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So I spent the 3 days just bopping around the town square, just, putzing around, seeing what there was to do. And so when the moon started to fall on the last day, I did not have the ocarina. Like I had nothing. I had no way of actually getting up to try and confront Skull Kid. So I was just helplessly running around the town until the moon fell and destroyed everything. And that freaked me out so much that I stopped playing and returned the game to Blockbuster.
Oh, wow. Just like, listen, this made me watch the world end. Keep it. Yeah, this game is cursed.
Yeah. Little me could not handle it. So I had to bail on that and never look back.
Understood. But back to this wormhole, suddenly it changes into an icy slide that empties out into a snowy cave.
Oh, yes.
Nutcracker's not quite sure where they are. They apparently took a wrong turn. This isn't Zelda. This is the Super Mario Brothers movie where Luigi ends up going to creepy Dry Bones' place.
Alas, I don't know that one either.
That's okay. But during the fall, the Nutcracker lost his sword, and Clara finds it in the snow and says, "Here, let me give you a hand." And when she pulls it out, the Nutcracker's hand is still holding on to the sword.
But
yes. Classic.
Lovely little dumb joke. And then they're greeted by what Clara first thinks is a firefly, but it turns out to be a snow fairy. And the snow fairy looks like Barbie's sister Kelly. There she is. It's a different voice, so to speak. The fairy doesn't speak English, but it's this high-pitched chitter, like tiny little beaker.
Well, I'm sorry, but you should have been more careful.
Oh, yeah.
And I have a voice credit. It is Shona Galbraith, who was also one of the animators of this.
Oh, nice.
But in the credits, she's listed as Shona Princess, in quotes, Galbraith.
Oh.
Well, then.
Okay.
I animated this. I'm crediting myself as Princess.
Good. As she should.
That's right.
Yeah.
So this snow fairy accidentally bumps into the Nutcracker and gets one of her wings bent, and Clara helps smooth it out again. So the snow fairy flies away and then comes back with a whole bunch of other snow fairies to help guide Clara and the Nutcracker out of this ice cave, but not before they spend like 3 minutes dancing around them during the snow fairy portion of the ballet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because again, it's a ballet. You gotta have ballet dancing in there.
And like, I'm not exaggerating with 3 minutes. I timed it. It's close to 3 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just kick back and relax. Watch 3 straight minutes.
For our purposes, it's great because it gives you a chance to catch up on any notes that you're writing.
That's exactly what I thought of. Just like, oh, this is perfect, actually. The end of this was a godsend for me. Just like, oh, I get to catch up. Like, I do so much pausing, typing out all of this, but for that, it was a nice break. More dance breaks in these, please. But as they leave the cave, we notice in every footprint Clara leaves in the snow behind her, little pink flowers appear.
Mm-hmm. Very cute, but a foreshadowing that we'll see the payoff to later.
Yeah, and I almost forgot about it until the very end, but we'll get there. So we're out of the cave now, and we're looking on over the country of Parthenia. Clara notices the snow on the ground, and it isn't even cold. And I'm thinking, have you any idea what the street value of this mountain is from Better Off Dead? And they start walking through a forest of pine trees that smell like peppermint, and as they do, they walk past a bat who takes one look at them and flies off to the castle in the distance that's been taken over by the Mouse King.
Well, for starters, Nutcracker's back.
What? Here?
And he's got some girl with him. Don't know where she came from.
I do.
The voice of the bat is Peter Kelamis, whom I know best as Rolf from Ed, Edd n Eddy. He also voiced Goku for a little bit on Dragon Ball Z.
Oh, really?
I think on the Ocean dub.
Oh, okay. There's so many dubs of Dragon Ball Z.
I know, and I think we have a few. We have at least one other Goku in this. But
yeah.
The bat says they're looking for a sugar plum princess who can supposedly defeat the Mouse King, who reacts in horror at this news despite having never heard of any sugar plum princess. Yeah, man, me neither, because it's supposed to be a fairy.
But she's in the registry.
Yeah.
She's in the registry. Yeah, he tells his soldiers to bring him the royal registry, I guess, so he can figure out who she is. And then as the camera zooms in on his evil face, he growls in his Tim Curry growl.
Bring me the Nutcracker.
And back in the peppermint forest, Clara and the Nutcracker arrive at the gingerbread village, or what's left of it, because Tommy ate some of it.
I guess.
That's gotta be what I thought they were going with here. We just see a bunch of little pieces of gingerbread and candy strewn along on the ground after attack by the Mouse King's army. Clara finds a doll on the ground. Never a good thing to find on the ground in the middle of a ruined village.
No.
Right, Mulan?
Yeah.
That is immediately what I thought of.
Yeah.
Like, oh no.
Suddenly they hear the whinny of a horse nearby. It's a pink horse with blonde hair and blue eyes, which was very weird, but okay.
I feel like I remember seeing this horse toy.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
I didn't have it, but I remember seeing it or a very similar Barbie horse.
Yeah, that's gotta be. We gotta sell this horse.
Oh, yeah.
And when they walk up to the horse, they're suddenly pelted by snowballs. Nutcracker yells, "It's an ambush, take cover." But it turns out to be a couple of kids with really good aim. One of them knocks the Nutcracker's hat off his head.
Mm-hmm.
And then Clara shows them the doll she found, and it belongs to this little girl who's dressed in this weird striped clown dress because she's a peppermint girl.
Oh, that's what they were going for.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then the other kid is a little boy in a one-piece gingerbread boy suit and a blonde bowl cut.
Mhm. Yeah, all different Christmassy food themes, and the horse's name is Marzipan, which
Marzipan.
Yes. Exactly.
This is Marzipan. I'm sitting in my dark room thinking.
Oh, good.
We went out with Marzipan to gather candleberries. We came back, and everything and everyone were gone.
The peppermint girl is voiced by Britt McKillop, who was Princess Cadence on My Little Pony.
Oh.
And apparently the voice of Baby Lola Bunny on Baby Looney Tunes.
Okay.
Which I did not watch, but...
No.
And the gingerbread boy is Danny McKinnon, the voice of Max from Dragon Tales, and took over as the voice of Enzo on ReBoot.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like the second voice of Enzo.
All right. Yeah.
So the Nutcracker asks these two kids what happened here, and they tell him they were out with the horse with Marzipan looking for candleberries. When they came back, everyone was gone, and the gingerbread boy adds, "This is all Prince Eric's fault." That's a popular name for a prince. I understand. I'm a Michael. I work with two other Mikes on my same team.
Yeah.
So, Prince Eric's father was the king before the Mouse King took over. Here, the mouse was once the king's advisor before the king died, and he left the throne and his scepter to his advisor until Prince Eric could prove himself worthy to be king. But then the mouse decided, oh, hey, guess I'm the king now.
Why would I ever stop being the king?
Right.
Yeah.
So Clara asks them what happened to Prince Eric, and the kids angrily say, don't know, don't care, we're better off without him.
That's hard to believe, considering that apparently the Mouse King's army has been like ransacking towns and like driving people from their homes and turning his most subjects into stone, as we'll talk about later. I'm jumping ahead again, but like, how bad must Prince Eric have been?
Right.
Yeah.
Like, or is the whole kingdom just mad because he must have run away or something?
That must be it, because the Nutcracker quickly changes the subject. It's dangerous here. Let's travel together until we can find you two somewhere safe to stay. So off they go with Marzipan in her one-horse open sleigh that she's already hitched up to.
She did it herself.
And took it upon herself to just trot out and let them on.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. She knows what's up. She knows she knows how to get ready to pull the sleigh.
I hope that's it. I hope it was just the kids forgot how to disconnect her from the sleigh, and she's been stuck on there.
Oh.
I mean, they're tiny kids, even compared to Clara, who's already been shrunk to the size of a mouse. The kids don't even come up to her waist.
Yeah.
Which I guess it's Barbie. She's like always on point. But anyway, they ride out of the village and almost immediately run into the Mouse King's army. And the mice try to take Marzipan, but she runs off with the sleigh. So instead, they run after Clara, the Nutcracker, and the kids, who escape by running into the woods until someone tosses a rope ladder and tells them to climb up. And as they do, the mice who were chasing after them keep running like they didn't just see the people they were chasing right in front of them climb a rope ladder. I don't think they were that far ahead.
Maybe mice have really bad eyesight?
Yeah,
maybe.
They're just nearsighted.
Yeah, they're like, right. Yeah, their eyes aren't in the front of their face like people's are. They're kind of off to the side.
It's in the blind spot, right? Yeah.
Like a horse. Yeah, they're in the blind spot.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
But we're up in the tree now, and we discover they've ascended into this whole big treehouse village, like they're the Ewoks from Return of the Jedi. But they're immediately surrounded by a bunch of men holding swords and spears, like the Ewoks. But their leader, who's dressed in the same soldier uniform as the Nutcracker, except he's not made of wood, assumes he's kidnapped the children instead of, I don't know, on the same side as him with matching outfits.
Yeah. Also, I assume he wouldn't be part of the Rat King's army, all things considered, or Mouse King. He's not a mouse.
Yeah.
Well, and they were being chased by the mice.
Yeah.
They saved them from the mice.
From
you would
the
think,
mice, yeah.
oh, maybe these guys are on our side if they're not on the side of the Mouse King.
Nope, they kidnapped these children. Even the Peppermint Girl has to explain, no, they're with us, but they take Clara and the Nutcracker in for questioning. They tell them they're victims of the Mouse King's magic and they're searching for the Sugar Plum Princess, and this guy says,
I've never heard such a ridiculous story.
Neither have we. We've heard of the fairy.
This guy's name is Major Mint, and he's voiced by Christopher Gaze, who's got a lot of credits, but many of them as one-off characters in other Barbie movies. He was another voice in Ninja Turtles: The Next Mutation as the evil Dragon Lord.
Oh,
Dragon Lord.
Dragon
like the
Lord.
main villain.
Yeah, they didn't have Shredder. They went with the Dragon Lord.
Oh, that's great. I'm surprised that he doesn't show up as Santa because he's got a good, like if he was a little more jolly, I think he'd have a good Santa voice.
I didn't see one, but I wouldn't be surprised either. But it sounds like no one else has heard of the Sugar Plum Princess, and the Nutcracker now explains Prince Eric told me about her. But Major Mint says Prince Eric is the reason we're in this mess. And the Major's second in command, a shorter man wearing a turban named Captain Candy, reminds him,
Major Mint, you're forgetting that Prince Eric was my friend.
Captain Candy, you're forgetting that I am your superior.
He's apparently the only one who liked Prince Eric in this whole kingdom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Captain Candy is voiced by Ian James Corlett, the original English voice of Goku.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. And also the voice of Glitch Bob from ReBoot.
Oh, yeah, Glitch Bob.
There we go.
I wrote down he was the voice of Dr. Wily in Captain N the Game Master, but then later he would voice Mega Man in that series.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Captain Candy says he remembers overhearing the king tell Prince Eric about a powerful princess, so Major Mint asks, where is she? And the Nutcracker tells him they've been told she's on an island across the Sea of Storms. So the Major agrees to go with them and find her, but he will be in charge of the expedition. And Captain Candy also asks the Nutcracker if he knows what became of Prince Eric, and the Nutcracker simply and sadly says,
the Mouse King destroyed him.
And it's a bunch of sad faces all around for a second before we fade back to the Mouse King's castle.
It's really dramatic.
Mm-hmm.
It was, and that immediate fade to the Mouse King's castle without anyone really reacting to that news. But Mouse King's yelling at his soldiers for letting the Nutcracker, a wooden utensil, escape. And instead of fleeing into the woods, they chose to return to him and report their incompetence. Yeah, dumb move, mice. So as punishment, the Mouse King turns them into bookends.
Mm-hmm. Which I love this. Like, as we see, the Mouse King has a collection of statues, paperweights, and now these bookends. I wish that they had done some other transformations, like maybe he turns people into like animals or inanimate objects. But I guess turning people to stone makes it easier on the animators because they just have to apply a rock texture to the model and then they get a static pose and they're good. They're done.
Yeah. No, like the whole castle is just littered with all of these petrified mouse soldier statues and lawn ornaments and paperweights. Basically, he's the White Witch.
Mm-hmm.
You screw up, you get turned to stone, which is a weird punishment when you start doing it to everyone, and now you've got a bunch of collectible junk around your castle.
And you'd be clearly running out of like soldiers, people who work for you.
Soldiers and room. He's like a murderous hoarder. And he's got the royal registry now to flip through, and that's where he learns the Sugar Plum Princess is kind, clever, and brave. And that's it.
Terrible registry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just like present. Doesn't help the Mouse King much, but now I want to know what's written next to my name on whatever national registry I'm on. I want to be kind, clever, and brave.
Yeah.
Oh.
Do we all get three descriptors beside our name?
Right? Put that next to my name in the phone book. Phone book. Okay, Grandpa. But
the white pages.
I mean, they still delivered that to my door up until maybe 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh.
I had to go onto a website and say, stop giving me the white pages. I have the internet.
They didn't know. Nobody told them.
I guess not. So since he can't find out where the Sugar Plum Princess is, the Mouse King decides to just hunt down the Nutcracker and kill him. And to do that, he zaps one of the columns in the throne room and he creates this angry, giant, bad CGI stone column monster.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I hope that's not a load-bearing column. Like, it's just...
That's what I thought. I have that note.
He just, the little castle collapses. The Mouse King takes himself out. Movie ends.
Yeah.
Right? Wasn't that helping to hold up the castle?
It was decorative.
A mouse wizard did it.
Yeah.
He even admits the monster's a bit rough around the edges, so he sounds his bat friend. We find out his name is Pim the Bat.
Follow him, Pimmy. He's a bit rough around the edges and may need some guidance.
You want me to babysit a rock?
Oh, you want me to babysit a rock? And then we see him babysitting the rock. But first, back in Major Mint's Ewok Treehouse Village, it's nighttime now, and Clara's tucking in the two kids that she did not kidnap into bed. And they ask her, what about Marzipan? Oh, I forgot about the horse.
She's fine.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Clara tells the kids they're going to stay there for a while, and she and the grown-ups will go find the Sugar Plum Princess. Then we see Clara walk over to the Nutcracker, who's sitting alone under a really large full moon in the sky. It's a gorgeous shot, but that moon doesn't look like it should be that big.
It's a little too close.
See, it is Majora's Mask.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
She asks him, can't sleep? And he says, I'm a Nutcracker. Sleep seems kind of pointless. Wait, does being a Nutcracker give you superpowers like canceling out the need to sleep and unlimited energy?
Yeah, well, and he also doesn't seem like he could be harmed. Like,
right?
Yeah.
I think the Mouse King just powered him up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stupid move.
Because a big part of sleep is that you need to rest your brain and let it sort of, recover from the day. If he had to sleep, that would then imply that there is a human brain in that wooden skull and
all fun. Just floating around and
let's not think about that.
Nope.
Maybe it's like a nut or something, like a walnut.
It's a walnut.
It's
it
a
looks
walnut.
like a little brain.
Yeah.
Perfect. Oh, I love it.
Oh my God.
Only one way to find out.
Oh no.
But here's where Clara reveals she's figured out the very obvious plot point that the Nutcracker is Prince Eric.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, you got me.
But I'm glad that they have that established. I feel like that's one of the things that I really like about this one, is that it's like, this is not a mystery, and it's not a mystery to her. Like, like the audience knows, and she is also with us. She knows that she's with the audience on this one, which I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I'm very glad they didn't wait to reveal that to the very end. Like, what? You're the prince?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she asks why he hasn't told anyone, and instead saying the prince is dead. He explains he didn't want to be king when he had the chance, so he doesn't deserve to be a prince either. But Clara points out, you're risking your life to save your kingdom. That's kind of important. But he says he only wants to find the Sugar Plum Princess so she can help him restore his people's happiness. And he walks away brooding.
I wish we got a taste of what made the king not think his son was worthy enough to take the crown, because everything we see of Eric in this movie, he seems like a really nice and capable dude.
Yeah.
It's confusing almost. Like what changed or what,
I don't think it was an age thing. Well, I was going to say this Nutcracker has a full beard, but don't think about that.
Don't worry about that.
Nah.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
From her first movie, Barbie and the Nutcracker, Sugar Plum Princess Barbie is...
My size, sugar plum princess Barbie. A glittering gown, a sparkling crown. There's no one like you. I want to be a princess too. A golden heart, the magic starts. Dance a pretty dance. You're my little sugar plum princess Barbie.
My size Sugar Plum Princess Barbie doll is 3 feet tall and comes with crown, locket, and outfit you can wear.
You know how some people are really into watching bad movies? It's basically that, just with more princesses. Bad Princess Movies is the podcast that seeks to catalog all of the terrible movies about princesses and princesses to be. I am your host Christy, and I like to torment my friend and co-host Bree by making her watch and talk about these awful, sometimes downright terrible princess movies. That's really all there is to it. So if you want to hear us goof on these films and don't mind a bit of swearing while we're doing so, come and join us on our podcast, Bad Princess Movies.
Hey, it's me. I wanted to play another track off my pal Dark Nuck's new mashup album, A Very Zelda Christmas. This one's called Joy to Outset Island. This has been a really fun addition to my Christmas playlist. You can find A Very Zelda Christmas on Apple Music, Spotify, and YouTube. Tell them Mike from the Advent Calendar House sent you. Alright, back to the show. So we cut to morning as Clara the Nutcracker, Major Mint, and Captain Candy come across a bridge made out of floating rocks, which don't appear very stable as you step on them, and in trying to keep his balance, the Major knocks Captain Candy off one of the stones, and he doesn't even realize it, just keeps moving ahead like, righto!
Yeah, no, I know I'm getting old because instead of just being able to take this children's movie at face value, I am legitimately so irritated at Major Mint and his carelessness. Like, I don't know who I need to speak to, but I'm ready to go full Karen to get this man fired because this is unacceptable.
Thankfully, Captain Candy has grabbed hold of the standard issue dead tree branch growing out of the rocky cliffside.
Oh, yeah. The one that will definitely hold a falling person's weight.
Of course, yeah. Yes. We're treated to a double TV trope of the literal cliffhanger and take my hand as the Nutcracker grabs the captain just before the branch breaks off and falls into the ravine below. So they all make it across. Major Mint doesn't even apologize. He just says, great.
No.
Now we need new supplies because you dropped your knapsack.
I don't know how Captain Candy didn't throttle Major Mint. He takes it's so much better than I would. And he acts like it was just like a minor inconvenience of having almost been sent to his doom.
Right, they bicker a little bit, but no, that should be a bigger fight. But we cut right to the Sea of Storms, which we're reminded is called that by a distant rumble of thunder. And that's it.
Yeah.
I don't think we ever see it get stormy at all.
No, it's fine.
There's no harbor of any kind, just a tiny little beach with a little dock, so Major Mint says he and Captain Candy will build a boat while Clara and the Nutcracker gather supplies. But first, the Nutcracker takes Clara to a very dead-looking valley nearby. He's looking for a well, but it's been sealed shut by the Mouse King. But he opens it rather easily with his sword, and out fly a bunch of fairies whose magic turns the valley green again during another break in the action so the fairies can dance to the Waltz of the Flowers.
Yeah.
Which, if you're familiar with the Nutcracker Ballet, this is early for the Waltz of the Flowers. That's toward the end, I think. And we're a little over halfway through this story.
Oh, I don't know the set list or how the actual ballet goes.
I only know it because my kids were in sort of like a stage play version of it last year, but they all had like characters and lines and everything. Yeah, my son was a mouse, and my daughter was one of the candy cane guards.
Aw, that's awesome.
Aw.
It was a good time. But during this dance with the flower fairies, I noticed they make the same sort of flowers appear that we saw in the footprints Clara left behind in the snow. And they don't call it out or anything. It's just something you have to notice.
I didn't notice.
No, here I was expecting Chekhov's magic footprint flowers, but nah, just fun with 2001 computer animation.
Yeah.
Anyway, Claire and the Nutcracker are about to have a moment when the earth starts to shake and we see the Mouse King's giant rock monster come stomping over the hillside and chases them back to the shore, where we see Major Mint and Captain Candy have built multiple boats. How long were we in that valley?
They were gathering apples for a while.
Listen, we need a lot of apples.
They're like, we need supplies, and they just get 50 apples.
Right?
That'll do.
Sure.
Yeah.
No time to worry about that now. They've got to evade this rock giant while it smashes their new boats. Then it turns and starts stomping toward our heroes, but it's stopped by the snow fairies who have returned. They all swoop in and fly in this rock giant's face before dancing over the water and freezing the entire sea of storms.
I wish that HD remakes of early CGI movies were a thing, because this moment would look so cool in modern day graphics.
Yes, it would. It's very 2001 CGI, but it also prompted me to look up how much of a stretch would that be, and it's only mostly a stretch. I used the Great Lakes as a comparison, and usually they get about half covered in ice during the winter.
Oh.
But you won't be surprised at all to learn that number's on a downward trend.
Yeah.
Because we're all going to die.
Yeah. Well, and I know, or in like very northern climates, the ice can get so thick that you could drive big, huge tanker trucks over the ice.
Wow.
Like there are ice roads.
Okay.
Yeah. I think there's a reality TV series of like ice road truckers that showed it.
Ooh. Okay. So, fine. Sea of Storms freezes over, and across the ice trots Marzipan, still hitched up to her little pink sleigh.
Oh, Marzipan.
Thanks, Fairies Ex Machina.
Yay!
So our heroes escape across the frozen sea, which is apparently so frozen, the rock giant can follow them without immediately just falling through. That's impressive.
Yeah. Those fairies are pretty strong.
Yeah, they do a good job.
Yeah, they brushed their teeth first. Minty fresh breath to freeze the whole ocean. But no, the rock giant's chasing them across the ice, no problem. So the Nutcracker stops the sleigh, gets out, draws his sword, and punctures the ice himself. He's not even worried. He tells the others, wood floats, rocks don't.
Which is, that's smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the rock giant just sinks. And Pim the Bat, who's been hiding on the back of this sleigh the whole time, flies back to give an update on the Mouse King, who's in the Royal Library with a very tall pile of books he's apparently flipped through, only to find no other mention of the Sugar Plum Princess. So now he's convinced that she's not even real.
She's a fantasy! But if Nutcracker wants to believe in fairy tales, he's about to find out this one doesn't have a happy ending.
Ooh.
Tim Curry with those good lines.
Oh, yeah. So back on the Sea of Storms, they're now riding through fog, and Major Mint wants to turn around. But after they stop, Clara insists Marzipan saw something. So she gets out and starts walking into the fog and only has to take about 5 steps before, hey, look, an island.
A whole island.
A whole very green and not at all snow-covered island. Where we cut to Marzipan's sleigh just parked on the grass. So I guess the ice just went right up to the shoreline. It's magic ice. It's fine.
The fairies knew when to stop making more ice.
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay. Yeah, they can reach it, and we're good.
Built them a little ramp.
Yeah.
So the Nutcracker leads the way despite protest from Major Mint, who says, handing the reins to a stump right in front of everyone.
Rude.
Like someone's racist grandpa at Thanksgiving.
Oh, no. That's the true holiday experience.
Oh, no.
It's a really pretty straightforward path to a big, tall castle. Clara, for some reason, hesitates, kind of falls back a little, holding a locket she's supposed to open to go back home. She's not sure she wants to leave.
Mm-hmm, yeah, because all this while, she and the Nutcracker have been making eyes, getting a little closer and closer.
Yep.
Something about that wooden mustache, just stirs something within Clara.
It's a good-looking mustache.
It is. Well,
that perfectly white mustache. But the other three walk up to the castle. The doors open for them, and then down from the ceiling falls a cage right on top of them. It's a trap. We then see this giant facade of the castle is actually a very tall, flat wooden set piece that topples over.
How'd they make that? How did the bat make that?
Right, because, here's the bat. Well, it's a bunch of bats led by Pym.
How did those bats make that?
I don't know. They have opposable thumbs and tiny hammers.
I love this so much because throughout the film, you could see earlier that a lot of the backgrounds and environments were matte paintings.
Yes.
And so it works to this film's favor so much in this moment.
Yes.
Because even if you notice that it's a matte painting, you think, oh yeah, it's just, it's another one of their backgrounds. Like you're not actually supposed to think it's fake until they surprise you with, oh no, actually this one was fake.
Yeah.
It's great. I love it.
It's very good.
So a bunch of bats led by Pym fly off with this cage. But as they do, Pym realizes, wait a minute, where's the girl? Clara apparently ran off to hide somewhere. So Pym just shrugs and says, well, no way off this island unless she's part mermaid because the ice is already melted.
Mm-hmm.
Global warming's real.
Oh, no.
So now she's stuck on this island with Marzipan telling herself, what was I thinking coming here? That I'd find some magical princess? Lady, you met a talking Nutcracker and are like 8 inches tall. And magical princess is where you're drawing the line?
Gotta draw the line somewhere, I guess. And Magic Princess was where it finally got a little too much for her.
Yeah, she's thinking about opening the locket now and leaving, but then she realizes she can't leave now. The others are caught and she's their only hope. And as luck would have it, here come the flower fairies.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
Who bring a vine for her to sit on like a swing, and they fly her off the island across the Sea of Storms, which we have yet to see produce a storm.
I do like in the beginning when the owl is first telling them, it's like, you can find the Sugar Plum Princess across the Sea of Storms, and then the Nutcracker's like, but it's impossible to cross the Sea of Storms. Like, I see no evidence of this.
No.
This just appears to be a very normal island, like lake.
I think because in this timeline, Link hasn't learned the song yet for his ocarina.
That's it.
You cracked the case.
Yeah, no, we didn't meet the organ grinder, so everything's fine. We didn't have teach him to itself. There's some. Nope, not getting into time travel shenanigans here. We've got enough to deal with. So they fly Clara directly to the Mouse King's castle, where the sky looks way stormier than it ever did over the sea. And they drop her off at a side door at the bottom, which no one's guarding, so that was helpful.
Oh, yeah.
And she starts sneaking through the castle.
Well, they're all statues now. There's not enough guards to guard the whole castle.
It's true.
We see a few kind of running through the halls, but yeah, no, it's easy for her to just sneak through the castle while the flower fairies fly back to the Ewok village to rile up the rest of the villagers into storming the castle.
Sort of.
Thankfully, the gingerbread boy in the bowl cut speaks fairy, so they're all on board. Except we see Pym the Bat spying on them. It's a real quick cutscene, and then he flies back to the castle to let the Mouse King know. And he has his soldiers create a very large pile of wood for a bonfire. And he wants Pym to round up every villager, fairy, and general troublemaker so he can force them to watch him burn the Nutcracker alive.
Pretty hardcore, gotta say.
For real. Meanwhile, Clara pretty easily finds a door to the dungeon, again, unlocked and unguarded because they're all stone.
No, there's the 2 guards in front of this one, and she's just like, oh, you have to go, or else the Mouse King's going to turn you into a housefly or a horsefly or something.
Yeah, and the houseflies. So they run out of there, and she just opens.
No.
Yeah. So they run off, and she opens the door to find nothing. It's empty, or at least it looks empty. We can hear the Nutcracker and the others, and eventually we do see kind of faint, semi-transparent images of them behind some invisibility shield.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Claire's no dummy. She knows the Mouse King wouldn't post guards on an empty room, so...
Two of his few remaining guards.
Right. So she feels her way around until she finds the exact spot where the Nutcracker's reaching out his hand. Then she immediately gets the idea to take a torch off the wall and smash the barrier, which shatters like glass, and they're saved.
This is such a strange scene.
Yeah.
I don't know why this is in the movie, because I think they're trying to show how smart Clara is and that she's able to problem solve, but it all just gets resolved so easily, and it's just also just such an odd, like, why have them be invisible and also like she can't hear them?
Yeah, I don't get any of this.
Like, what rhyme did the Mouse King say to make this spell?
I don't even know. I don't even know what kind of forethought. It's just like, yeah, she'll probably get back here, so have this room invisible just in case. Yeah. Just in case I don't kill her before then.
Wild.
It almost is like he thought of everything, but not quite. Back up in the courtyard, it looks like they've rounded up all of these villagers, and the Nutcracker's seen enough. He jumps out from a balcony and lands on one of the guards' heads, knocking him out. Perfect jump. 10 out of 10.
Mario style.
Yeah, stomps right on his head. So the Mouse King lights the bonfire, and it's time for a showdown right in front of everyone.
There's more to being a king than having a crown.
Oh, suddenly you're an expert?
You'll never gain their loyalty until you've earned their respect.
I don't need their loyalty. I don't even need them.
And the Mouse King's just, I don't care. I'll turn them all to statues. And he does.
Which is, yeah.
Great kingdom. No guards. No people. Just a bunch of statues.
Yeah.
Just a castle full of Funko Pops. That's all he wants.
But also, again, this is a nice trick for the animators. Like, oh, we don't have to animate this crowd at all.
No.
Oh, thank God. We can go home tonight.
As an animator, I would be so happy. I'd feel like, yes, genius.
I say it's a crowd, but what they did cleverly is it's the same small group of villagers kind of copied and pasted around this courtyard.
Oh, yeah.
It's beautiful.
There's just a lot. This is a kingdom where there's just a lot of twins and triplets, you know?
It's Symmetry City. So now it's fight time, and the Mouse King turns his scepter into a battle axe instead of, I don't know, shooting fire. He just lit a giant bonfire with the thing. Use your fire rod on the guy made of wood.
It's all out of fire.
You deserve to lose now.
All out of fire. Can't do any more fire today.
I guess so.
Needs more magic points.
He needs more spell slots.
Yes.
He ran out of...
Yep. Even when he does remember to use magic, he just makes himself giant.
Oh, yeah.
The Rita Repulsa offense has never worked.
Wow.
That's a good way to put it. I love that.
Yeah.
Make my Mouse King grow.
Yeah.
Oh, you need to go way raspier if you're going to be Rita.
I know.
That's hard.
It's late.
I don't blame you.
I didn't want to shriek in my apartment.
Your neighbors start questioning, what the hell's
What
going
are
on
you
in there?
doing?
What is happening?
Well, so the Mouse King's huge now. Gets one good hit in when he swings his scepter like a baseball bat and almost knocks the Nutcracker into the fire. That does knock him out, so Clara runs to his defense, calls the Mouse King a coward hiding behind a magic wand, and I love this line.
You're nothing but a coward hiding behind a magic wand.
I obviously didn't shrink you small enough. Your mouth is still much too big.
It's very funny. You can good.
So the Mouse King casts another shrinking spell right as the Nutcracker jumps up in front of Clara and blocks it with his sword, reflecting it back onto the Mouse King. The sword's not wood, it's a standard metal sword. So now the Mouse King is a tiny baby and runs away in a sewer grate.
Victory!
Victory! That's it. That's the end of the fight.
Yep.
We now have Clara holding the weakened Nutcracker, who tells her, don't worry about him, he's just wood, remember?
Yeah, presumably they could just sand that out and maybe just apply a new
it'll be
varnish.
fine.
To paint?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right?
Some more wood glue? He's fine.
There you go.
Some filler in there. He'll be good.
Yep, just a little finish.
Yeah.
Clara tells him they both know he's much more than that, Prince Eric, and gives him a kiss on the cheek, and hang on, that's what breaks the spell.
Classic fairy tale move.
Yup. The Nutcracker transforms into this glittery blob and then back into fleshy human prince. But he loses his white hair and beard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to give Barbie her Ken, I guess. It's Eric is clean-shaven Ken with dark brown hair. No, don't like it.
Yeah, I don't. He's so generic.
Yeah.
I wish that he at least had a mustache, which this led me to looking up, have there been Ken dolls that have had mustaches? And I can confirm based on a Google search there have been a few.
Really?
Yeah. My favorite was called Mod Hair Ken. And it was like a 70s era doll, and he came with a selection of different facial hair stickers that you could customize him with.
Oh, wow.
So there were multiple mustaches. You could have a Burt Reynolds mustache, or one that had like a little curl at the end and sideburns. You had customizable sideburns.
Got like a full Kenny Loggins beard going on here. I'm looking at it now.
Wow.
It's beautiful.
Is that a Van Gogh? This is amazing. And he's got like a plaid tweed jacket.
Yeah.
This is very 70s.
Gorgeous. I wish that the Nutcracker turned into this Ken.
This Ken looks like Neil Diamond. I would have rathered that than what we got.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Captain Candy is super happy to see his friend, and Major Mitt is suddenly very embarrassed because he realized he talks down to everyone ever.
Yeah, Major Mitt's getting fired after this.
Yup.
I sure did talk a lot of junk about Prince Eric to Prince Eric. Whoops. Oops.
But then, and this is the biggest twist for me as person who's watched too many Nutcrackers, Clara also undergoes a glittery transformation and is revealed to be the Sugar Plum Princess.
Yeah, of course. Granted, this is the first Barbie movie, but if you continue to watch them, you'll get to see there is always a transformation sequence at some point. Barbie is always going to get some beautiful glittery gown that, of course, you could buy at your nearest Toys R Us.
Oh, yeah.
You need the regular Clara version, and then you need the Sugar Plum Princess version. You got to buy 2 dolls.
Yes. Yeah.
They are each sold separately.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She's got a gown and a fairy dress and everything, and in Clara's defense, she's as confused as I am. But it makes sense to the prince. He points out that she saved him like 18 times between your living room and here, and then you kissed my curse away. You must be the Sugar Plum Princess.
It just makes sense.
Yeah, he's not wrong, but I'm also not really sure I follow the logic.
No, it's not like she suddenly remembers or anything.
Yeah. Or like there was like a prophecy about the Sugar Plum Princess. All we knew was that she was, what was it? She was kind, brave, and
Kind, clever, and brave.
Yeah.
Well, she's been all those things, but
like that surely that criteria could fit a lot of people. Can anybody apply to be Sugar Plum Princess?
Yeah, maybe. Right? The gingerbread boy threw snowballs at him. He was, well, he wasn't very kind. He was just like, this is all Prince Eric's fault. All right, he's out. But, and of course, the curse is lifted on the castle and everyone else in the kingdom. Very Beauty and the Beast style.
Yeah.
In my head, I have those trumpets just a Everybody cheers and dances. Notably, Captain Candy and Major Mint do a very extravagant, very long version of the Russian dance. Here comes the very long dance sequence at the end here, folks.
Yes. Yeah.
We've hit the end.
You got to cram it in. There's only so many minutes left in the movie. And oh no, we didn't do the Russian dance. That's what everyone comes to the Nutcracker for.
Oh yeah, remember when we hired the New York City Ballet? We got to fit him in here somewhere. Here it all is. This is the most obvious piece of motion capture in the whole movie, I think, because it's just these two characters and no one else doing this whole section of the ballet.
Mm-hmm.
Well, because first it's like it's the two little kids, and then it's the Russian dance, and then it's Clara and Eric.
Yep.
It's just sort of one or two people per dance sequence.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in any other animated movie, this would be a lot of screen time this is eating up. But here, and for 2001, it actually looks neat.
Yeah.
I think it looks better than the Polar Express because they tried to keep a little cartoony style to it because Barbie's got to look like Barbie.
You know, I've never seen the Polar Express.
Oh, well, I'll add that.
Oh, yeah.
I'll add that to the list of movies to show you.
It's worth seeing. It just... They tried to do a thing. They tried to make the motion capture work. They tried to make it look a little too realistic, and it hits the mark. It's that uncanny valley.
It's that uncanny valley.
Yeah, and it's very uncanny for that. But I mean, it's Robert Zemeckis who directed that, so he does all kinds of crazy stuff.
Mm-hmm. He got a bit better at the motion cap as he went. You know,
he did. Like it was better in A Christmas Carol, and like. He directed Who Framed Roger Rabbit, so
yes,
we all kind of trusted him. And then the Polar Express happened, and everybody looks like they have dead eyes.
Instead of the crazy Judge Doom eyes.
Yeah, right. Oh, I wish. But here they were even serious about animating Barbie's hair.
Yeah.
I found an old BBC article that said one animator's entire job on this staff was to focus on the swish of Barbie's hair and to make sure it was moving the way it was supposed to, especially during this dance.
Yeah. No, I could see that, especially just with them having Clara have long, loose hair.
Yeah.
That was something you didn't really see in a lot of the early CGI films because it was such a pain in the butt to do.
But oh my God, it's still a pain in the butt.
Yeah,
fair.
But I guess like Mattel put forth the big bucks. Like, listen, Barbie has to have a very specific look, so you got to get it right, and we will shell out what we need to make that happen. And they did.
Yeah. Back in these days, the only Barbies that had short hair were the ones that I took a pair of scissors to.
Oh, yep.
So after they dance, the prince asks Clara to stay and be his queen, and Clara very smoothly says,
"This locket was supposed to take me home, but in my heart, I feel I'm already there."
Clara, you have a family.
Don't worry about it.
You have a family back home, and she's so ready to ditch her brother, her grandfather, her aunt.
Yeah, just like, nope, I got found family now.
Yeah.
And right after they share a kiss, the tiny Mouse King returns, riding Pim the Bat. They swoop down, and he snatches up the locket and opens it himself. I laughed so hard when that happened. But it's not an instantaneous trip back home. We get enough time to see the snow fairies whip up a snowball in the little peppermint girl's hand, and she hits Pim the Bat in the face with it, bringing those two crashing down.
Yeah, we don't really see them land. They're sort of
Yeah. I like to think that the Mouse King once again survived, and now he's just this occasional nuisance that every so often they have to deal with in the Candy Kingdom.
Yeah, but now he's tiny. He doesn't have his magic scepter anymore, so
yeah,
he's just got to avoid being stomped on. And then after that, Clara starts to disappear, and we fade back to the room where she fell asleep. We fade into the ballerina ornament hanging on the Christmas tree. But if you look closely, the locket's not there.
Oh.
It's not on Clara's neck either. She wakes up and looks around in panic. And her Nutcracker's missing, and the room's still a bit of a mess after the fight with the mice. As Clara's grandfather points out as he enters, he says, "I see the mice have gotten their own party last night."
I like that he wasn't concerned that his granddaughter was in the room and
mice were
the
running
room
around.
was overrun by mice while she was sleeping.
Yeah.
I guess that's fine.
Yeah. Why didn't you wake up and deal with the mice in my house? Clara says it wasn't a party, it was a war, and explains everything that happened. And of course, her grandfather brushes it off as a very vivid dream. But then in walks Aunt Elizabeth, and Clara asks her if she's seen her Nutcracker. And in walks the spitting image of Prince Eric, whose name also happens to be Eric.
Of course.
Not as funny as when the Care Bears did it. Oh, here's our new neighbor, Alan Prince.
That's got to be a trope itself, having a Prince character. But if you're setting it in modern day, you just have his last name be Prince, and everybody knows what.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
aren't we clever?
Wonder Woman's last name is Prince.
Oh, yeah.
It'll do. Elizabeth introduces Eric as the son of a very dear friend of hers, and he's invited him to stay for Christmas dinner. And after everyone leaves the room, Eric takes Clara's hand and gives her the locket.
It was all real. It was real.
Somehow. Don't question it.
Don't worry about it. The Candy Kingdom is real and a place that you can go.
Yep.
You could apparently travel back and forth to pretty easily, I guess.
I guess
so. They look up at the owl on the clock, whose eyes twinkle again. I still think someone's in that clock.
Clock's haunted.
Because the ant's in the... Oh, no, the ant left the room, so maybe it is the ant.
Oh.
Well, Aunt Drosselmeyer, that line about her saying that Eric is the son of a dear friend of mine. I almost wonder if they mean, like, did she knew his father somehow? Like the king?
Yeah, must have.
Yes.
I wish that maybe they worked that into, because she has a story early on in the movie where she says that she danced with a king. And
oh, yeah.
I don't know if the timeline would quite work out with, like, whenever Eric's dad died and when Eric became the Nutcracker. Don't really know if the timing works out, but maybe that's what it was, is that Aunt Drosselmeyer met with his dad at some point.
Time works differently when you're shrunk. That's what we learned from Ant-Man.
Yeah, maybe.
But now we focus back on the ballerina ornament as these two dance in a now empty room, and then we zoom in on a snow globe with the prince and the sugar plum princess. Before we zoom back out to actual Barbie and Kelly in the dance studio. Hey, remember how this was a story within a story? Because I sure forgot.
Yeah. Remember that? Yeah.
I completely forgot that, like, we were being told a story by Barbie.
Your hand was, like, right on the remote control, like, oh, I could turn the movie off now.
Right, the end.
I'm done.
I'm free. Oh. Wait a minute.
Oh, no, more dancing.
And the lesson Kelly takes from all this is,
if Clara hadn't been brave, she never would have found out she was a princess.
That's right.
Yeah.
I didn't think the bravery was the problem she was running into at the beginning of the movie. I thought it was that she was having a hard time learning the dance, which is fair because she's like 2 years old. No, she's like 8 years old.
Yeah, around 8, I would say. But
6 to 8.
Something like that. But here she asks Barbie if she'll help her practice until she knows all the steps. And of course Barbie will. presses play on her little boombox. I think there's a cassette player in there. It's that kind of play button.
Yeah. Good old cassette player.
And here they finally fit in the dang Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairy at the very end. And that's it. We made it.
The end.
Yup. Any final thoughts on Barbie and the Nutcracker?
I mean, I have my issues with it here or there. I think the story could have been improved, and some of those dangling plot threads could have been woven into the plot a bit better. But overall, it's cute. I like it. It's, charming enough that I'm happy to rewatch this one every so often.
Yeah, because I know we've already, like, Christy and I covered it, and I will admit that when I was like, okay, I'll rewatch this for the thing, and I realized pretty quickly that I'm like, oh, I don't remember most of this, which doesn't necessarily indicate a bad movie. It just sort of indicates a one where I was like, yeah, that was all right.
Yep.
It just didn't stick around very long in my memory. Like, chunks of it I remembered, but like most of it I was like, yeah, no, this was gone. But like, I'm not sad that I had to watch it again. This was nice. It was cute.
It was a fun hour and 20 minutes to just turn my brain off.
Yeah. There are definitely far better Barbie movies, but this one, when you consider that it was the start of the Barbie direct-to-DVD video era,
it's
like a pretty good start. You know, there are things that they did improve on.
Yes, but they did. I've said it already. This is fascinating to watch because it does a few things I think look better than when the Polar Express did it 3 years later. And then it does a lot of things that it was just too early to get it really solid, but the good parts popped out at me.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's why I would love if HD remakes of early CGI movies were a thing. Because like
they should.
Just
the whole movie's the same, but it's got like the tech from Frozen behind all the ocean freezing and stuff like that.
Right. Here's what it's supposed to look like.
Yeah.
And I get why the motion capture dancing is here, but it all seems more spontaneous than it should throughout this whole thing.
Yeah.
And now we dance. But not even the courtesy to announce that now we dance. But
no.
In any case, thank you both for cracking this nut with me. This was a blast.
Thank you so much for having us back.
Yeah. Always a pleasure.
Oh, absolutely.
Love to be here.
Well, if people want to turn you into a matching pair of stone bookends, where can they find you on the internet, Christy?
Oh, goodness. Well, if you wanted to check out the podcast that Brie and I do, we are Bad Princess Movies, and we like to take a look at movies that, as you might expect, involve princesses. So you can come check us out. We are on Twitter still, at least as of this podcast recording.
Yep.
We'll see where Twitter is in a few months. But we are on Twitter at Bad Princess MOV. And that's probably the best way to, at least again, as of right now, to check us out and figure out where we are posting our podcast episodes.
Yeah.
Brie, anything else you want to plug?
No, I'm the half of the podcast that is shown the films from Christie's collection.
Yeah. the one that I inflict movies upon.
Yes.
Pretty much.
Please go check out Bad Princess Movies if you haven't already. It is always a pleasure to talk to you both. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Well, you can find those links in the show notes of this episode, and you can find me at adventcalendar.house, and I'll let y'all take it from there. Tune in next time when it's Scrooge Sunday again, but this time we're doing it backwards, just for funsies.
Ooh.
Talk to y'all then. For now, for Christy and Bree from behind a giant life-sized wooden cutout of a giant castle, this is Mike Westfall reminding you to watch out for any icy patches or tiny mouse kings flying on the back of bats that may come your way. Good night, y'all. Next time on the Advent Calendar House.
Oh dear, Mr. Baldrick. It looks as though we're in for a bit of a thin Christmas.
Don't you worry, Mr. B. I'm hanging my sock up so Santa will come down the chimney.
Mr. Baldrick, I guarantee that if there's one thing liable to stop Santa coming down the chimney, it's your sock waiting for him at the end of it.